Welcome back to the Gridiron Drive. Free agency is here, and today we are diving into everything that the New York Giants have done so far in this first wave of free agency and what might still be to come. If you're interested in offseason news, analysis, NFL draft, free agency, fantasy football talk, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You're not going to want to miss anything else we have coming your way. I'm Anthony Correnti, joined as always by my co-host Peter Traina. Who better to talk the New York Football Giants than Peter Traina? How you feeling, Pete? Free agency's here.
Yeah, man. I'm feeling cautiously optimistic here as a Giants fan, I think they've made some good, decent, calculated signings, nothing too desperate. Nothing really matters until they get the quarterback, so we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, what do you think?
Yes, to save us from inevitably getting dunked on, we are recording this at 10:23 p.m. Tuesday, March 11th.
Yeah.
We have given Aaron Rodgers all the time we could today. He remains firm. He's got two franchises just in a headlock right now. Just wait until he makes his decision. So if when we hit the stop button, the Rodgers news drops, we're sorry. We tried our best, all right?
We really did push this off as long as we could.
We did. But, big offseason for the Giants. 3-14 a year ago. Top 3 draft pick. Let's kick it off with key departures. Have the Giants lost anybody of note yet?
Not really. Obviously they cut Daniel Jones midseason last year, and he just signed a 1-year, $14 million deal with, I think, incentives up to $17.5 million with the Colts. That's a pretty big deal for Daniel Jones. Good for him. Get his money. Jason Pinnock just signed with the 49ers, I believe. Azeez Ojulari, he's still out there. He was an edge rusher who was perennially helped, but always had some good production when he was healthy. And I guess Adoree Jackson, he's still out there. But those are really their only notable free agents. Is there anybody you see on that list that you're dying to bring back?
I don't know. I guess it depends what the market bears out for Azeez Ojulari,
yes.
Right? Like, if he doesn't find that big deal someplace else, or bigger deal someplace else, I could see him still working his way back and ending up on that defense again. It just feels like when it's slow burns on some of these edge guys, like, are you really going to get the huge money? Like, I don't think he's going to get a huge deal from somebody at this point.
Yeah, if he's just signing a value deal, like a friendly deal, sure, he'd be a great rotational edge. I mean, when he was healthy last year, he put up some numbers, but he's just never healthy, and it's been that way since he came out. That's why he fell to the second round.
And for any lingering moves out there for the Giants, is what's left in the cap all placeholder for whoever's playing quarterback?
I believe so. I think I don't know how much cap they have. Let me see.
I know Over the Cap said that they have like just over 25 million. I'm assuming, it looks like that's accounting for at least some of the recent moves, but I don't know if there's I was just scrolling through to see if, Jevon Holland and those guys were on there.
Yeah. You got to imagine that that's going to be mostly for the quarterback, and they'll probably do like a 2-year backloaded deal where the first year is minimal cap implication, because you'll still need like 10 million or so to sign your rookies, I'd imagine, or something like that. And you want to have a little bit of flexibility going into the season,
especially with that early pick.
Yeah,
it's not as cheap as somebody later in round 1,
right?
But they have brought some guys in, while we wait on the quarterback news when it does drop. Jevon Holland, nice big get. How we feel about that?
I feel great. I mean, I know a lot of the chatter online with the Giants fans are like, "Oh, Joe Shane, who let Xavier McKinney go last year, now he's signing a safety." Because I have very strong opinions about this, and I'll be brief. He could have either A, learned from his mistake and decided, hey, maybe we do need to pay safeties a little bit. B, McKinney got more money, more years, but also McKinney had his issues in the Giants locker room. So, yes, he's a good player, but he was always chirping to the media. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He just might have not jived with the team. So they let him go. They're actually getting a third-round comp pick for him this year, and now they signed, a suitable replacement for him. I can't, blame Joe Shane for that. Yeah, the optics are bad because it's like, what is this process? Is he, valuing safeties or not? But I don't think it matters. The league is so fluid year to year that you can't just have these strict, you know, rules like that. And I also like that they brought in Paulson Adebo.
Mm-hmm.
He's his only downside to him really is he's very aggressive, so he gets a lot of penalties. But God, the Giants DBs are so unaggressive that they I love Deontay Banks, but he never reacts to the ball. He's always in good coverage, and then the ball will just whiz by his head because he didn't turn his head, or
Yeah.
he's always right there. He's never getting burnt, but he's just not he's just not making the play on the ball. So I love that. I think that'll be a great addition. And the Giants, I mean, they kind of sneaky have a decent defense now with some of the guys they got last year. They got this guy Chauncey Golston from the Cowboys, rotational defensive end. They're going to be a decent defense if they can get it all together. Obviously, they got Dex coming back. They got Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Tyler Newton from last year, Drew Phillips last year. I mean, that's a solid young core. They also brought back Darius Slayton. What do you think about that contract?
I thought he would get more, honestly, than $12 million per. Because that's what he signed, right? It was like the Josh Palmer deal, right? With the Bills, $336. Yeah, I thought he would leave because I thought he would get more than that. I think that's a good deal for them. Darius Slayton is one of those players that I feel like kind of has almost become a meme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's people want him to be better for fantasy, but he's a perfectly fine and capable, he's never going to be anybody's wide receiver one. But that's also not how you're paying him, right? You're paying him to be a depth wide receiver, which I think is fine. He's still a legitimate, deep threat option that could take the top off of defense. And, you have your guy. You have the dog and Malik Neighbors already. So, yeah, I think Darius Slayton will be fine to pencil in with Alan Lazard once he eventually comes over with Aaron Rodgers.
You son of a gun. The only negative I see to this signing is, man, they must really hate Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah,
he just
I want to believe, I want it to happen. I was a Jalen Hyatt guy. I want to believe that it's going to happen.
He showed some flashes year one. I don't know if he just can't get the playbook. Obviously, I'm not, in the locker room. I don't have any sources or anything like that. It's just, it seems like something is not clicking there because he's talented enough to get on the field. He's not going to be your, alpha wide receiver, but he has a place, I think, in the NFL. I don't know. It is frustrating, but I like bringing him back. He's a glue guy. He's probably the longest tenured Giant besides Dex. I think they came in the same draft, so he's good. Otherwise, the Giants, they didn't really do. Those were their big moves. They, grabbed a couple other depth pieces. I think they got a swing tackle. Nothing too major. I think they're pretty much tapped out. I think I read a report that they were in on the guards, but they just kind of got too rich for them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see them look for that in the draft. And I think that's kind of what we're going to segue into this next segment, right?
Yeah. When we're looking at, biggest needs that they've got remaining, obviously we talked and joked about quarterback already. We know they're waiting to figure that out. But outside of quarterback, pending it be, well, I guess even lumping quarterback in, actually. Because who knows whether it's Rodgers, Russ. I guess that doesn't totally take it off the table that they still address it in the draft. But remainder of free agency draft, what are the biggest needs looking like for the Giants?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously they're gonna sign a veteran quarterback, and I think they're gonna draft somebody. And I don't know, if they sign a guy like Rodgers, I think they'll get more of a mid-round flyer on a guy that they kind of liked. I think Jalen Miller would be interesting if he, falls past round 2 or whatever, or maybe in round 2. I'd probably like him to go another direction in round 2, but I think he would be interesting with Dayball. But other than quarterback, obviously Russ and Rodgers, offensive line, I think they need to get another guard, I'd say, and you could probably even say they could use a right tackle for sure. I mean, There's a couple of guys that they could probably swing there. I know Jermaine Illuminor did a good job last year, so you could ride with him. Hopefully they can kick in Evan Neal inside to guard. They didn't do that last year. I think that would be good for them. And I think they could use another somebody on the defensive line next to Dex, like another bigger body. Like I said, they got Chauncey Golston, kind of a depth piece, but I think they could play into the strengths of this draft and get a defensive tackle, with maybe early day 2 capital.
I was gonna say it's a good year for a day 2 defensive tackle. That is for certain.
What about you? What are your opinions there?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they should bump Evan Neal inside.
Yeah,
he can't play tackle. So recoup what you can. Salvage it by moving him inside. Hopefully, quarterback, obviously the big one. It'll be interesting to see if they do end up with Rodgers, how premium an investment they're willing to make in the draft after that. Because I don't know, with Rodgers comes the Rodgers stuff. I don't want to say that you don't want to make him mad or something like that, but just it's the bed you make with Aaron Rodgers, where it's like, okay, well now, even if I really like this guy round 2 at quarterback, can I get something else that either protects Aaron Rodgers or is a weapon for Aaron Rodgers, or it helps make our defense better so that we can contend with Aaron Rodgers? But I don't think it's a bad idea to double down and address it by signing a veteran and then still drafting a guy. I just wonder if it'll be early day 2 or if it becomes a round 3, round 4 kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like any other team, add more offensive linemen. Just can never have too much offensive line depth. It's never a bad idea.
Not at all. No.
Give me a prediction here. Who's the quarterback? Week 1, who's under center for the New York Giants?
I just saw a tweet that said that the Steelers were kind of stalling with their negotiations with Rodgers. So I think the Giants probably just blew him away with money, and they were like, "Listen, man, we got 2 years here, maybe even 1, but we can pay you for 2 years, similar to how the Jets paid you. You live in Jersey. I think it'll be Rodgers, man. I think it'll be Rodgers. I think they'll draft somebody, and let's go, YOLO."
It feels like that's the way the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
That it will be Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, you got any final thoughts and predictions?
I would end up predicting the same thing. I think it'll be Rodgers. I think he's gonna, sneak Alan Lazard over there in his carry-on luggage. He doesn't have to pack up and fly since he already has the spot. But I think he'll wheel him over there in a suitcase. Yeah, I think it'll be Rodgers, and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if it works out better across town. But this is it's a very similar situation to what the Jets had just gone through. This is the bed that you end up in when it doesn't work out with the guy that you drafted at quarterback. You throw a Hail Mary to try and save your jobs.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants, their quarterback play has been so bad since the tail end of Eli's career that I'm just I guess I'm just happy to see them try something. Even though he's definitely not the man he once was. Rodgers is still a 4-time MVP, and he showed a little bit of zip left in that arm. He might not be as mobile as he once was, but the Giants.
Yeah, that's the thing. The arm is there.
Yeah,
it's sure he does, but he doesn't move like he used to. But maybe that's also a little better. Another year removed from the Achilles. Who knows?
Well, that's what I was about to say. And then the Giants' offensive line, when Andrew Thomas was out there last year, was much better. So I think with a pretty solid offseason so far on the defensive end, hopefully they get some more improvements on this team for the offense in the draft. Maybe get another defensive lineman. It's a tough division. I'm not going to be delusional and say that they could win the Super Bowl, but they got to show some kind of life.
Yeah.
Eight wins, something like that. And I know that sucks if you're a fan of the Giants like me, because you really want more than that. But I think if they could progress these receivers and the young weapons that they have, and then maybe the guy that they draft grooms to be a grooms into something. You never know. But either way, I think they just can't go into this season and hope that Cam Ward falls to them or Shador is the guy.
Yeah, I tend to agree. If you're a fan of the Giants like Pete, comment down below. Let us know what you think of the offseason so far. Let us know if you think it'll be Rodgers playing quarterback or if it'll be Russ. Feels like it's going to be one of the two. So stake your claim down in the comments. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any other news about the offseason as it rolls out. We will talk to you guys soon.
Keep driving live and don't forget to like and subscribe.